Hi friends, it's Taylor. Welcome back to the channel where I share my financial self-care journey. Today I have two exciting announcements. The first is that we have reached 1,000 subscribers. I am super excited because this is one step closer to being monetized on YouTube. I've been at this for 3 years now, but only 1 year consistently. Either way, I'm very happy about my progress. So thank you to everyone who has joined the community. I am super excited for the growth of this channel and this financial space in general. So in case you haven't subscribed already, you can go ahead and do so now and make sure you hit the bell. The next announcement I have is that today I am doing my spring shop launch. I was supposed to do this on the last day of March, which would have been the 31st, and we are now 2 weeks past that date. I am going to give myself some grace though, because I was just running into a lot of production issues on the background in terms of just like the template quality and formulas and things like that. But I think I've reached a point now where everything is actually ready to publish. Of course, it is going to completely depend on you all's feedback to let me know if there are any changes that I should make. But the only way that I can do that is by releasing the templates. So that's why I wanted to do this today, so that I could start getting that feedback. So the 3 new templates I'm going to be releasing today are the projections dashboard, very long awaited, the sinking funds planner, and the monthly rollover plan. Also, I have tried recording this video more than once, but we're now at crunch time. So I was just like, I'm going to record the video no matter what I look like. Hence the very casual appearance I have in today's video. Now I'm going to do a quick walkthrough of each of the templates so you all can see how you can use it for yourself. Let's dive in. Alright, we're here in Google Sheets, and the first template that I have is the projections dashboard. The purpose of this template is to help you forecast your future numbers. So this could be the cash in your bank, your investments, your debts, and also your net worth, as you can see here on the chart. So I've removed the filter at the top so that you all can see that this expands 50 years into the future. And the way to set your start date is just by clicking on this text box here and typing in whatever date you want to start this journey. So if it's today, April, the 12th of 2024, you would type that in and you see that the rest of the months have adjusted based on this April start date. Now, if I undo the April date and we go back to January, we can see that the row that contains the month of April, which is today, is highlighted in this brownish color. And that is because I have a formula set up to highlight the specific row of the specific month that you're in. So that way you can quickly look at that particular month's data without having to go up here to the filters and manually change it. As I mentioned before, we have 4 different built-in sections into the dashboard. Cash refers to the money in all of your bank accounts, so this would be your checking and savings accounts. Investments would be your 401k, Roth IRA, or brokerage accounts, and you would just put those totals here. Debts are self-explanatory. That could be student loans, personal loans, or maybe a mortgage or anything like that. And the entire net worth section is actually based on a formula. So it takes the total of your cash and investments and subtracts your debts, or you can also put other liabilities here, and that gives you your net worth. You'll also see on the right-hand column of the net worth section, I have a net change column, which allows you to see the difference that you're making per month in your net worth. So if your net worth happens to go down, it will turn red and it will display the number here. And if it's positive, it will be green, like you can see in this example already. For the filters, I actually have a detailed guide here that explains how you can customize the slicer on the top of the projections to customize the amount of data that you see so that you're not overloaded with all the information at once if that's not what you want to look at. For this example, we will say that we want to look at all of the months from 2024. So we're going to follow this guide here, and let's go back to this version, which I will explain the difference between the 2 versions in just a second. So I'll go up to the slicer, filter by condition, text contains 2024, and press OK. And the reason we're able to use text contains is because all of these are text-based values, and obviously they have the year 2024 in them. So we're just doing a text-based search to only show us the months for this year. It's very zoomed out here, but the minute we change it to just this year, it zooms into just this time. Now, the reason that I have created two different versions of the projections dashboard is for two different types of people, essentially. The first version of the template is for those who want to keep the historical values. For example, we can see that we have our expected numbers here, and then our actual is actually different from the expected. So by keeping the historical values of what we expected, we can more clearly see what that change was compared to the actual. For example, in January, we had $200 less in cash, and in April, we have $100 more. So if you really want to see that comparison of the data, you want to use version 1. If you use version 2, that means you don't want to keep the historical values of your expected numbers. Using the cash section again, we can see that the actual and forecast are actually matching up, kind of like what you would do in a zero-based budget. And because these columns are equal, everything stays pretty much the same, and then the forecast adjusts based on the actual numbers. And if I double click into one of the forecast cells, you'll see that it's equal to the value in the actual cell next to it. You will have to remember to do this manually as you're going through each month, so that way it doesn't keep the forecast numbers here, because that'll be irrelevant once you have the actual numbers once you get to that month. In terms of customization, of course, you can change the fonts and colors as you see fit. And to do that for the charts specifically, you're going to click on the chart that you want to change, click the three dots, go to Edit Chart, and then go to Customize, Series, and then you can see the difference of the two here, and you can choose the color that you want. So if I want this to be hot pink, I can do that. And for the actual / forecast, we can make this purple. Well, maybe that was a bad example. Either way, you see that you can completely customize this to your liking. Next, we have the Sinking Funds Planner, which is helpful for those who want to see a year at a glance what they're going to be spending on, such as annual subscriptions, or what they're going to be saving up for. Now, by default, I have grouped these into two big categories, one for expenses or withdrawals from your savings, and another one for contributions, which would be deposits into your savings. But of course, you can completely customize the structure of this page to your liking. Maybe you want to have a section completely dedicated to holidays, birthdays, and Christmas, or maybe a section for your wish list items, like a new couch or something that would be really enjoyable. Starting at the top, we have a place for you to put your start date. It is the same way as the projections dashboard, so you're just going to click into here. You can either immediately start typing or double click in order to get the calendar select. And the start date that you pick affects the columns that we have here. So right now I have the start date as January 1st of this year, which is why the first month here is January, but maybe you're starting at a different part of the year, like maybe October of 2023. And you can see that it starts here in October and then goes all the way to September, but it is still a total span of 12 months. The way that I use this template for my own finances is that I just keep it ongoing. I don't necessarily need to keep track of how I divided my sinking funds 2 years ago, so I just adjust the date in the top left, and each year I will just look at the different savings goals or spending goals that I have and change up the numbers as needed. But if you would like to keep that historical data, you can just duplicate the sheet and maybe create another one called 2024, 2025, so on and so forth. So that way you can quickly see what you spent in other years. And speaking of the dates, you'll notice that this particular column for April is highlighted in a lighter color. It's the same with the projections dashboard. I wanted to highlight the current month that you are in so that you know exactly what you're looking at when you come to look at your planner. And for the sake of the video, I'm going to actually bring this back to the first of the year because I think it makes more sense to have January to December. Now, going back to the way that I divided these up, you'll see that because these are expenses here in the top section, I put the language total needed this month. which means that when we look at our calculations here, it is going to take the sum of everything that we need to spend this month. So if I need $300 for taxes, but maybe I also have, I'll move this 100 here, we'll see that it updated to $400 to show the total amount that we would have to withdraw from our savings in order to pay for all of these things. So starting with the structure, we have the description of whatever the spending goal or saving goal is. And then we have a place to put the starting balance. So maybe you already have some money set aside for a particular sinking fund. Maybe, let's say for the phone bill, you already have $50 in there. You'll see that the numbers down here adjusted at the bottom because it wants to take into account the amount that you already have set aside for your savings, and it'll give you a better estimate of how much you actually need to withdraw. So we can see that if I'm starting with $50 here, but I'm not depositing anything between January, February, and March, by the time April comes around, I would not have the $300 that I need in order to pay my taxes, which is why it says there would be a balance of negative $250 because you're $250 short. So this view is helpful because then you can start to plan how much you would need to add into your account each month in order to get to the amount that you need. The slightly same concept goes for money that you are saving up for. So let's say you're saving up for a new apartment and you already have $1,000 in there, but you want to add $415 each month to this savings account so that you can get closer to your goal. In this bottom row here, we can see how the balances are increasing each month based on the starting balance plus all of the monthly contributions. And then at the very end of the year, you can see that you would have $5,980. Now, I will clarify that this row at the bottom is actually the total of all of these columns. So if you are also putting $300 a month towards a new car, you can see that the total jumps up here because you're saving more than just $415 for the apartment. And so to make that less confusing for those who want to see the separation, I have a section here for the ending balance, which takes into account the balance that you started with, and it adds up all your contributions throughout the year and tells you how much you would have at the end of the year for that specific savings goal. I also forgot to mention the totals work the same way for your spending up here, only this is just the amount that you plan to spend. It does not include the starting balance. So if I double click into this one, you can see that it's only accounting for the spending, aka the withdrawals from savings from January to December. Lastly, we have the monthly rollover plan, which is what I use at the end of every month during my budget closeout because I want to see how much extra money I have in my account and if I can afford to put that towards any spending or savings goals. So starting with the top, you are going to check your balance on the day of your closeout or whenever you do this process, and you would type in the amount that's in your bank account at the time that you're checking. Next, I have a section for pending transactions because this is what I use since I like to list out my pending transactions separately. But if the current balance that you're taking from your bank account is actually your available balance, which is your current balance minus any pending transactions already, you don't need to put those here because then you would be double counting for the same expenses and you would think that you have less money than you actually do. So if that applies to you, you can ignore this section or delete it, whatever works for you. You can see that I have this example transaction from Amazon and it is $200. And so the subtotal is 200 and the remaining takes the total that we have here at the top, which was the bank balance minus the subtotal, and that gives us 1220 and some change. Next, we have upcoming transactions, which are not going to show up on your bank account at all because they are in the future. The way that I use this is for any transaction that's going to come out before I get my next paycheck. I get paid on the 5th day of the month, so I need to keep track of those upcoming transactions between the 1st and the 5th of the month before I get paid again. And in this example, we can see that we are left with $220. And the last section that I have is for your goals. I use this to keep track of extra debt payments or maybe money that I want to spend on myself to reward myself for saving more this month than I thought I would. And the way that you know you've done it right is when your remaining here at the very bottom is 0, which means it's a zero-based budget and you have allocated how you are going to spend every dollar between when you checked your bank account and what your future plan is. Alright everyone, that is it for the walkthrough of my new templates. Before I go, I wanted to do a little bit of housekeeping. The first is that because my shop is doing really well, I'm going to be doing a slight price increase, and it's really to reflect the value of the time and money that I am putting into these templates, because it is taking between weeks and months to work on the spreadsheets, specifically the formulas, and I've been keeping the pricing low up until now because I've been treating this as a testing phase. I wanted to get everybody's feedback on my templates, really see how popular they were, how people were using them, etc. So as of May 1st, my shop prices will be going up, but because I am celebrating my 1,000 subscriber mark as well as the spring shop launch, even though it's a little bit late, I am deciding to keep the templates free and or low price for the remainder of April. So if you are interested in these templates, please grab them this month before the prices go up. The second thing I wanted to talk about is the giveaway. So I'm going to pick 3 people to receive a paid template of their choice completely for free in celebration of reaching the 1,000 subscriber mark. This is a very huge milestone for me, and I wanted to share my gratitude by giving back to the community and really just creating a very comfortable space for everyone here on their financial journey. So the rule for the giveaway is simple. Just leave a positive comment on this video, and then I will do the little randomizer and select 3 positive comments, and those will be the winners. But that's all that I have for today's video. And of course, please do give me your feedback on the templates because I want to know your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one.